Hey everybody, it's Justin. Welcome back to another episode of Garage Talk. Today's episode is going to be about the newly revealed 2019 Toyota Supra. Hey everybody, I'm throwing in a preemptive update to this video because since I recorded this last night, and yes, I did get a haircut between last night and right now the following day. But anyways, the 2019 Supra is now supposedly going to be revealed, at least the streetcar production version, in 2019. We were hoping it was going to be this year, sometime later this year, even at one of the upcoming car shows, but now there are sources saying no reveal of the 2019 Supra until 2019. That's a bummer. That sucks. But anyways, on with the video. Just keep that in mind with some of the things that I have said going forward throughout the video. Enjoy. Alright, first things first, before we get to chatting about the new Supra, I'm going to give you a quick update on what I have decided, or what I think I have decided for the new channel name. If you guys recall, a week or so ago we put up the video on the future of Justin's Pit Lane, or the name basically Pit Lane being in my YouTube channel name. You guys voted a lot on the BTR Garage. I think that outvoted Justin's Pit Lane, keeping my current name, by a margin of about 2 to 1. So BTR Garage about 2 to 1 votes over Justin's Pit Lane. Now on the other hand, a lot of you made comments in the comment section down below about how you liked having my name in the channel name and how you associated that with me and my channel and what we do here in the garage and out on the racetrack and among other things. So what I'm thinking of doing is keeping BTR, getting rid of the garage for my channel name and putting my personal name there instead. So having BTR Justin for the channel name. That way I'm still identifiable by my name and there's no longer the Pit Lane in there, which is kind of what I wanted to get rid of in the first place. As for things like my website name, which is currently mypitlane.net, I'll change that to btrgarage.com. I'll change the YouTube channel URL to youtube.com/btrgarage. So all of those references to BTR Garage will exist in that area. I am hoping that is what I end up going through with if I don't overthink this too much more. Alright, so enough of that. Let's get to the chat at hand. The newly revealed 2009 Toyota Supra. We're going to take a look at all of the typical things that we do in a Garage Talk episode. That's the exterior, the interior, the drivetrain, engine and transmission, and then the chassis. I'll talk about what I've seen out in the internet world and on YouTube as well. Obviously, I am not at the Geneva Car Show where this thing was revealed just today actually. But I'm going to try to do my best to get you guys up to speed with what we know about this new Supra. If you've looked into the Supra or you've been following this stuff already, this is probably going to be all redundant and repetitive for you. But for those of you that haven't learned anything about the Supra yet, hopefully this will be a little bit enlightening and I'll add my thoughts and comments as to what I think about this car as well. So far, I'm really liking it, but let's get down to the nitty-gritty. So the 2019 Toyota Supra revealed at the Geneva Auto Show. Now I could go back in time and give you guys all kinds of history on the previous 4 generations, I think, of Toyota Supras that existed back in, I think, the late 70s, 80s, and 90s. The most popular ones being the Mark IV, the MK4 Supra. The ones made popular by Fast and the Furious, of course. These cars were super popular when I was into import cars early on in my car modifying career or life way back in the mid-90s and late 90s. The Supras back then were the big dogs on the block. It was the car I always wanted, could never afford. Big 6-cylinder engines with a big single turbo, massive straight line speed. You guys probably know a lot about those cars already. Very iconic in the import performance world. Very awesome, very fun cars to drive. I had the opportunity to drive twin turbocharged, the standard or the stock way that they come, not the big single turbocharged cars like a lot of the modified ones were. But I had an opportunity to drive one back in the late 90s, maybe 95, 96 when I lived in Arizona still. Anyways, awesome cars, very fun, very fast, and handled pretty well as well back in those times. So the US didn't have those cars anymore after 1998. I think they were in other markets through 2002, but I'm already getting too much into the history of these cars. Badass cars back in the day, still pretty bad today. I would still love to have one of those generations, the MK4 cars. Even today, they are just very cool, that awesome and kind of timeless in their own right. So the iconic car Toyota says they are bringing it back. We've got that new reveal. It's actually the Gazoo Racing, or the GR Racing development team, which is a subdivision of Toyota these days, developed this car and revealed the race car version. So unfortunately, this might not be entirely what we see for the street version of the car, but from a lot of the spy shots and things that have been going around, this pretty much resembles what is under the spy coating, or the spy images of the cars that we've seen. So starting off with the exterior here, we'll start going through some photos. Very, very aggressive, very race car-esque looking Toyota Supra. I think it looks amazing. I'm not sure if there's a single piece of the car that I do not like, including the big old wang on the back. It looks good, it looks functional, like most everything else on the car. All right, let's take a closer look at the front end of the car. Clearly it is a wide body race car version of the car. Probably not going to be like that on the production street car. You have the signature Supra long sloping front hood, or at least signature looking compared to the old MK4 versions of the car. 3 large air intakes on the bumper, hopefully for intercoolers, guessing that the motor probably is going to be turbocharged, probably fitting radiators as well. Aggressive looking headlights, probably LED headlights from the looks of it. And then you have some additional aerodynamic pieces, the front lip spoiler and the dive planes, or the canners, on the end of the wide body. Taking a look at the side profile of the new Toyota Supra, you can see this has a clown shoe type of design. Because this thing is based on the new BMW Z4, I believe, which is where the clown shoe nickname came from, at least I think at some point in the past for those BMW cars. Basically, the cabin of the car is swept way back towards the rear of the car, and again, that long sloping front hood, which gives you the visual impression of a shoe. People like to call it a clown shoe. I'm hoping that the Supra that ends up on the street is not too clown shoe looking, but this side profile of the GR Racing Supra concept looks super awesome in my opinion. Not too clown shoey at all. I think it's a good placement for the roofline and the cabin and the way it's swept back over the tail of the car. Of course, you've got more aero and race car parts on this particular car, but overall I think the side profile of the car looks pretty dang good. Moving on to the rear of the car, I think this is probably where you're going to see the most changes when it comes to the production street car. There's a lot of stuff going on here. Obviously there's a massive wing on the top. I highly doubt that's going to be on the street car version. You also have the massive diffuser on the underside of the car for aerodynamics reasons on the race car, also likely not to be there on the production street car. Again, the wide body stance sticks out very much on this race car version. And one of the more unique items on this particular car is the single exit exhaust. My guess is that will probably stay as is. That's kind of a unique design. I don't see that on a lot of cars, and something I would probably expect to see on the production version. Otherwise, not too much else going on in the rear. You have the nice contoured taillights fitting into the wide body, a little bit of a duckbill type of trunk or hatchback. But overall, again, pretty sweet looking from the rear of the car. Switching over to the interior of this GR Racing Concept Supra. Now, obviously, this is a total full-on race car. OMP, halo racing seat, harness, roll bar, fire extinguisher, nets, everything that you would find in a normal race car, none of which is probably going to be on the production street car. You have the fancy racing steering wheel, the racing pedals, and oddly, this has 3 pedals in it when everything I have read says that this will be an automatic only, some kind of high-performance automatic transmission or double clutch transmission, but we'll talk about that in a moment. Maybe the only thing that will survive through to the production model is the design of the dash that is in there. Otherwise, this is not telling us a whole lot about what is going to be in the street car production version of the new Supra. All right, so we have the exterior and the interior of the GR Racing Supra concept. Unfortunately, this is the only thing that they revealed, at least as far as I know, in detail. There was no details on the engines, no engine-based shots that I saw, and the chassis and suspension pieces were kind of kept on the down low as well. So can we expect the production model car to look like this one? I think so. Again, I'll try to flash up some of the spy shots of the car in camo mode out doing testing on the open roads, and you can kind of see the visual comparison between the spy shots and what was released with this GR concept. So we'll go ahead and get into the drivetrain, starting off with the engine. Now, I've read quite a few different things on supramkv.com. That's one of the sites I've been getting a lot of my information, and of course all of the common motor sport websites or car magazines, that kind of thing. One thing that we know almost for certain, in fact, it was mentioned or spoken to by the designer of the car, who in fact is the same designer that designed the GT86 platform. I'll make an attempt at pronouncing his name, Tetsuya Tada. Again, the designer of the GT86, the BRZ, FRS, and 86, and the new Supra. So hopefully we can expect to see a lot in common there. Not on the engine side though. Let's talk about the new Supra engine. Again, this thing is a collaboration with BMW. So a lot of the word on the street is that it's going to be a BMW-based engine, which is not necessarily a bad thing. The designer of the car did mention it will in fact be an inline 6-cylinder engine that is turbocharged. So again, just like the Supras of the past, or at least the previous generation Supra, and also conveniently like a lot of the current BMWs that are turbocharged today, the M3, M4, the M2, as well as a number of the 3 Series engines as well. 6 cylinders, turbocharged, so we can expect some good power and some good torque out of these engines. The numbers that I have found anywhere from 300 horsepower and 300 pound-feet of torque to 350, even upwards of 400 horsepower, and people saying that the car will get the engine that is in the current F80 and F82 M3, M4, or the S55 engine. Now, for those of you familiar with that platform, the S55 makes tons of power. It's ridiculous. There's all kinds of aftermarket already available. So in some ways that is a good thing, but that would be big time power for the Supra, which is supposedly going to be a pretty small car, which we'll talk about when we get to the chassis section here in just a moment. There were a couple other engines that I also heard rumored or read about. The B58 engine, again, a BMW engine found in, I believe, the 2 Series cars, the 240i or the M240i. Makes a lot of power, makes a lot of torque, 6-cylinder, turbocharged. It could also be the N55 engine, which is kind of a previous generation BMW engine found in the BMW M2, and again, some of their 3 Series cars in the previous generations, but also a very powerful engine, 6-cylinder, turbocharged just like the rest. So one of those things we're just gonna have to keep on the rumor mill and see when it actually comes out to get the full details on the engine, on the power, but you can expect it's probably gonna be pretty impressive. As for the transmission, this is where a lot of people are probably gonna get a little bit sad, including myself, because I wish there was an option, but what we have heard, and it has all been but confirmed, is that there will be no manual transmission, no 6-speed manual transmission. It's looking like it's going to be an automatic transmission. Not quite sure what that's going to be, a high-performance auto or a DCT or double clutch transmission as found in some of the BMW performance models. Now, personally, I would be fine with a DCT-like transmission. I've driven plenty of BMWs with that. It is awesome, it is fast, and it is very good. No, it's not a manual transmission. You don't get the interaction and the extra control over the car, but the DCTs are pretty dang good. All right, moving on to chassis and suspension, handling, all of that good stuff, the stuff that I love pretty much more than anything. The reason why I have the BRZ behind me and the FRS before. The good thing is that the Supra has been touted as the elder brother, quote unquote, of the GT86 platform. This came from Tetsuya Tada himself, from what I have read in his quotes, so that gave me a huge smile. I love these cars. You guys know that. I love the BRZ. I love my old FRS. Awesome platform. Lacking in the power department out of the box, but the Supra looks to be changing that. Now, speaking of the Supra chassis, we have heard that it's going to have a 50-50 weight balance, very similar to the BRZ. They even claim that it's going to have a lower center of gravity than the BRZ, which I kind of find a little bit weird, simply because of the fact that the BRZ has the boxer engine. The boxer engines being flat, where the pistons go out side to side, makes for a lot lower engine mounting position in the BRZ, FRS, and 86. With the inline 6-cylinder engine that's turbocharged, obviously that thing's going to be stood up straight. you're significantly raising your center of gravity with that. So how Toyota is going to accomplish a lower center of gravity than the BRZ, I'm not quite sure how they're going to do it. Those engineers are a lot smarter than me, so I'm sure they have their ways, but that is also good news. The low center of gravity is what contributes largely to the great handling and performance of these cars. Toyota has even used words like fun to drive and easy to maneuver, both of which are very important characteristics to the BRZ and the 86 FRS, which kind of hints at the car being, again, lightweight, small, and agile. In fact, one of the reports that I read says that the new Supra will actually be very similarly sized to our BRZ that we know today, and it's going to be a true two-door coupe, so no back seats. The BRZ pretends to have back seats. They're really kind of unusable in most situations, but the Supra, strictly a two-seater. Small, compact, lightweight, but still packing a powerful punch. As for detailed components like suspension, sway bars, other chassis type of things, we just don't know. There's no information out there. Again, they say it's going to share some of the suspension geometries and suspension design from the BMW Z4, so I suppose we could glean information from that, but honestly, I don't even know what the Z4 uses for suspension, to max strut or whatever it uses, multi-link, I just don't know. So we're going to have to wait and see what they end up throwing on the Supra. All right, so what did we miss in the chassis area? I think the brakes. So the brakes, at least on the GR Racing Supra concept, had big old Brembo brakes, high performance racing brakes. The chances that we're gonna see that on a production car, who the heck knows? So what we saw on the GR Racing car is probably not what we're gonna have on the street car, or maybe we will. Maybe there will be multiple trim levels or performance packages, that kind of thing, that will have a brake upgrade. Again, they're doing this in collaboration with BMW. We know how BMW M3s can be optioned, or maybe if you don't know how they can be optioned with massive carbon ceramic brakes that are like an $8,000 or $9,000 braking upgrade for the M3. It's ridiculous. But anyways, maybe there will be something like that for the new Supra, again, because of that BMW collaboration. All right, I'm closing up my laptop. I think I have talked long enough on this. I probably missed some things. I probably missed some of the details. These are the things that kind of stood out to me, and I wanted to share it with you guys. Am I pumped about this car? Do I think this car is bad to the bone? Heck yes. I think this car might actually be the successor to my BRZ. From what we know so far about this GR Racing Supra concept, it has everything that I enjoy in a car. Repeating myself, lightweight, agile, fun to drive, and this one will actually have a bit of power from what we understand. So if those things deliver and actually come true, in 2019, I just might be waiting for my new Gen 5 Supra to land in the garage here. All right, everybody, we're gonna wrap this one up. The 2019 Toyota Supra, or at least the GR Racing Supra concept. I am loving this thing. I have been a big fan of Supras for many years, and I am super excited to see what is actually going to be the production street car version of this new Supra. If you guys enjoyed this episode of Garage Talk, please let me know down in the comments. Let me know your thoughts on this new Supra. Did I miss something out there? Did you guys know something that I don't know, or maybe I haven't seen yet? I would love to hear it because I want to know. So thanks again, everybody, for watching. I really appreciate it. Stay tuned for more good stuff coming up soon. Stay fast out there. I am checking out. We'll talk to you all next time.